Hey everybody, it is Mickey with Free Roaming Photography, and I'm out here with another episode of Birding and Nerding, and I am out on the Moose Wilson Road again in Grand Teton National Park. And so far I have not had any photographic opportunities, but I have heard red-breasted nuthatch pretty much as soon as I got out of the car. And then also there's been a couple of mountain chickadees calling from the hill up behind me. So, not much yet, but I am going to see what else is out here. It's been a good month or two since I've been out here, so probably something moving around by now. And yeah, we'll go take a look and see what's out here. Not sure if you could hear it in that last clip, but there were a couple of red-breasted nuthatches calling up from those aspens or the evergreens behind them, way up there. So probably not going to get to see them, but still fun to hear a couple more. Okay, so that did not take very long. I got a couple of ruffed grouse that were feeding on the bushes and around the terrain, and you can see I started off with a photo. It's the first thing I usually go to, just instinctually, but I was not very happy because of how many branches there were. It made it pretty busy and kind of distracting from the grouse itself. So what I did is I switched over to video, and you can see, even though it's still kind of busy, because the grouse is actually moving in the video, your focus can kind of stay on that. So in that situation, I think a video worked a little better, and you actually got to kind of see what it was doing. It wasn't just standing on a branch like it would be in a photo, but it was actually feeding off the branches and nibbling on them. So in that case, just a more interesting video than photo. And that's sort of what you kind of want to look for when you're trying to decide if you should do a photo or video, if that's something you're interested in doing both of. So some scenes are going to make better photos, some scenes are going to make better videos. And in that case, I thought the video worked better. One thing that should help with the birds versus the last couple of times I came out here is that it's a lot warmer right now. I think the last time I was out here it was down in the single digits or just the negative single digits Fahrenheit, and now it is in the upper teens shortly after sunrise. We are entering a warm spell, so that should help get some birds out a little earlier. And definitely last time they were waiting for the sun to come up to get a little warmer, so hopefully that makes a difference. I will keep heading back here and see what we find. Okay, so just missed out on an opportunity with a few mountain chickadees. They were kind of scurrying in one of the trees, in a lot of branches, and then started climbing up. And unfortunately, I noticed that my battery is low on my camera, and I did not bring a spare. So, A, always bring a spare. That's just like a rookie mistake there. And then B, if you do want to conserve your battery life, especially in the cold like it is now, a good thing to do is turn off image stabilization. That eats up a lot of battery, and I mean, your battery's still going to drain when it gets used, but turning off image stabilization will help to preserve a lot of that battery. So I did that, and since they weren't being super cooperative, I decided to leave them be and move on and see what else is back here, because I'm going to head down to the Snake River and see what, if anything, is out there. Okay, so just as I remember, there are a couple of bald eagles right up there in that tree. They were here last time. They have a nest, and I'm happy to see they're still here. So they're currently just sitting perched up there. They are looking for breakfast. So I'm going to hang out here for a bit. I'll mosey for a bit and hope that they find something interesting worth chasing after. And I will see what else is around here. Okay, so definitely a more active morning here. As I was walking over here, apparently one of the bald eagles has flown, and I do not see where it went, so hopefully it'll catch something and come back. Wishful thinking. I also managed to find these trumpeter swans, and because they were so far away, like 400 yards away, 500 yards away, I opted to go with a more environmental approach. Try to get them in their element and landscape. Don't know if I was really successful or not, but that's always nice to see. And as I was walking up here, they flew off. Since I am still plenty far away, I am not taking the credit for that one, nor the bald eagle, because I was walking away from the bald eagle at the time it flew. Also, there's an American dipper hanging out here, which I did see last time, but it has been flying around. Hopefully it will come back soon and make a nice pose. But yeah, a lot going on here right now. A couple of goldfinches flew over, and so I am gonna poke around here, see who else is hanging out, because definitely more active than when it was much colder several weeks ago. I also did just find where the other bald eagle went. The original one is right back there behind me. The other one flew over into those trees across the river. So definitely on the lookout for breakfast, and I'm going to leave them be for a little bit and see what else is out here. Okay, so I have decided to move on. I apparently not good at sitting around and waiting. I would be pretty terrible at a big sit. And for those that don't know, a big sit is sort of like, it's a little play off of a big year, which is where people will try to compete to see the most birds in 1 year, most species of birds in 1 year in North America. And a big sit is where you sit down for an extended period of time and try to see how many birds you can see that come your way. I personally just like to move around a lot, so I have a hard time sitting still. One might say I like to move it. But if you're interested in a big year, there is a fantastic movie that covers that called The Big Year. Stars a lot of amazing people. Owen Wilson, Jack Black, who's the third one? Steve Martin, Rashida Jones, Diane Wiest, so many amazing people in that movie. That is based off of a book called The Big Year, and it's basically the same story. The book is a little bit more accurate to reality, while the movie takes a few creative leaps, but at the same time, it's still pretty much the same story. But that being said, a big year these days is you sort of have to be willing to hop on a plane at the drop of a hat. So it's typically a lot of the wealthy people that are doing big years. It used to be where you could do a big year on a shoestring budget. There's actually a fantastic book. Oh shoot, I'm blanking on the author's name. He's a really famous birder. Made his own guides and everything, but he has a book called Kingbird Highway, where he does a big year, actually wins a big year just by hitchhiking across the country. So that's a really fun read if you're interested. But anyway, back to photography. I I got a couple of those shots of those trumpeter swans, and you can see I put them at the bottom. And the reason I put them at the bottom and not in the center, I think I covered this before, but you never want to center your subject, because that's immediately where somebody's eye is going to start looking to something, for something. And so when you don't put it on center, it forces them to move their eye a little bit more and look around the photo. Likewise, the trumpeter swans in that case were the most interesting thing in the scene. And so if they're in the center and right away people see the most interesting thing in the scene right there in the center, that's basically going to leave a lot of empty space in the bottom. There's not going to be any reason for them to look at the bottom, so it's just going to be a lot of distracting compositional space. So what happens is people will tend to read a photo like a page in a book. So top to bottom, left to right. So with the trumpeter swans down toward the bottom, in both the vertical and horizontal, while it still is a beautiful scene, they're gonna see those trumpeter swans more or less last. And you're talking about like fractions of a second, maybe a second or two, but still, that's just sort of the subconscious mind, how it interprets a good composition. And that is why I put them down at the bottom. So short little lesson there, and not much else going on after I took my little hiatus. Wow, I can't talk. It's kind of struggling in the snow here. That's part of the problem. But after I took my little break, there wasn't much going on, so that's also why I decided to move on. So I'll go see what else is back here, and we'll see if we can find some fun photos or video. Okay, so calling from those evergreens up there, I'm pretty sure I heard a white-winged crossbill. I have never seen one, nor heard one, to my knowledge, but I did hear it calling over there, and I got a brief look at it from that distance without binoculars, and there was definitely some color. So I have a hard time knowing if I should count that or not. The calls were practically identical, and to comparing him to what's on Merlin, but it was too quiet to pick up, for the audio check. But at the same time, they were practically identical. I definitely saw some color on it. I just want like a better look to count it. Because if it's a lifer, I want to be able to like actually see it and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely that bird. Whereas if I know a bird's call and I've seen it before, I'll count it based on audio. But yeah, that was a tough one, because I am 99% certain that's what it was, and I did technically see it. I don't know. Everybody's going to have a different opinion on what to do with this one. Needless to say, I did not get shots of it because it was way too far away, and I was spending a lot of time just trying to ID it, hoping it would come down. But yeah, I'll keep moving, see if it comes back out or something else. Okay, so I am back in my car and didn't see a whole lot else on the way out. A Canada Jay, which was really nice, and stopped to get a little bit of footage of it, and then it immediately flew off, which, how often does that happen? Yeah, wanted to drive this road on my way out just to see if there's anything else. Just a few other pine siskins that were up in a tree and a few mallards. But aside from that, no, not much else. But it is still kind of the dead of winter. But so wasn't expecting to see a whole lot. What we saw was awesome. So I'm happy about that. And then it's really only another month or maybe just a little bit more before our early spring migratory residents start coming in. The mountain bluebirds, the western meadowlarks, things like that. So it's going to start getting good again really soon. So anyway, yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Any questions, drop them down below. And thanks. I will see y'all next time.